Hi, Lindsay. How's it going?
Hi, good. How are you?
Do you want to just say a little bit about yourself before we start?
Okay, so I'm Lindsay. I'm a nursing major and I studied abroad in Western Australia, in Australia. And I did that in the fall of 2019.
Why did you choose to go to Australia out of all the places that you could have gone to?
So for my major, I could only study abroad for a full semester in either Dingle, Ireland or Western Australia in Fremantle. And I felt like a lot of students went to Dingle. And it was a great experience for all of them. And I just felt like I wanted to do something a little bit more different with my college experience. So I decided to apply to the Australian program because a lot less people applied and it'd be more of a unique experience for me personally.
Cool. So how many people went to Australia, like in all?
I think there was like maybe 10 of us, five of them only being nursing majors.
Wow.
So I only knew only the five nursing majors going into it. And I met a bunch of the other majors. I think there were a couple exercise science majors and a couple psychology majors who went.
Cool. And there's like, because it's all different universities there, right? Not just like Sacred Heart.
Yeah, so actually the university we studied at was Notre Dame University in Fremantle. And it's actually founded and like helped started by the Notre Dame University in America. And so we actually got to meet a lot of the Notre Dame students who were from that area. We made a bunch of friends with people from like Utah, Idaho. It was crazy the amount of students that went from different universities.
Wow. Um, what kind of like specific challenges did you face like as a nursing major? Like, was it difficult at all? Were you nervous?
Actually, so in order for the University of Notre Dame program to fit into the Sacred Heart program was really complicated and they worked really hard to make it fit for us. So we couldn't do our clinical in Australia because we have like different levels of clearance that you need in order to work there. And so we had to actually do an observation there. So we couldn't actually do hands-on patient care, which is kind of hard because like you really want to do that when you're studying to be a nurse.
Mhm.
Uh, so we did observation in a hospital. And then once we came back from our abroad experience, we had a week of at home time where we went and did actual hands-on clinical in American hospitals. And then we also did like a ATI test, which is like you have to do for your for each nursing class. You have to do it for each semester. So we actually did a week of schooling when we got back. So that was kind of difficult for nursing. But other than that, everything was pretty easy to do.
So were you just with like the five other people who you went for nursing school in Australia? Like when you came back and did that like week of clinical?
Yeah, we were the five in the group. It was kind of nice because it was like very hands-on experience for the five of us that a lot of
Mhm.
students don't get.
Yeah, so it's almost like even though you had to make up the work, like you got kind of like a better, or not better, but just like a more like focused
Yeah,
experience.
definitely a lot focused, and we brought a lot of the way that Australian hospitals work is very different to the way that American hospitals work versus like they have a private and public system. So we were able to bring that knowledge and experience we learned from observation to America and apply it to the maternity care that we were doing in the Yale hospitals.
Yes, that's really cool then. Um, did you still have like a lot of time to travel around like studying and everything while you were in Australia?
Absolutely. So the way that the program there works is that the Australian students would do 8 weeks of school and 8 weeks of practical, which is their clinical experience. So they would take finals at 8 weeks. So we weren't doing practical experience. So we had 8 weeks of school and the rest of the time to travel. So we got there in July, the end of July. We had class the first week of August to like the last week of September, and then we were good to travel for the rest until we came home in Thanksgiving.
Wow. So you only really had 8 weeks of classes?
Yep. And they were hard classes and the finals were hard, but we had 8 weeks of amazing travel.
Wow. What kind of like where did you go? And was it like expensive to travel for 8 weeks like that?
It actually wasn't. So the American dollar, I think it was like for every $100 you spent in Australia was like 67, $70 in
Mhm.
America. So we did me and a couple of the girls went down we met a girl named Kate. She's amazing. She lives in the western part of Australia, but on the southern border,
Okay.
in a town called Esperance. She took us home for the weekend. So we traveled down there. So that one was pretty cheap. And her mom made us like homemade meals. And then we traveled up the coast of Western Australia because Fremantle's down on the bottom part of it. And we
Mhm.
went up the coast to Ningaloo, and we did like a kind of like a bus tour, and we went into the Kalbarri National Park, and we did abseiling, and we did a lot of snorkeling. So that was up there, and it was definitely cheap to travel for the American money wise. It was like probably $500 for the bus tour in American money, which was it was like a 6-day, 6-night thing, and all expenses, all food, all meals. It was pretty good for exclusive. Nice. And then me and Lulu did a 11-day trip to Indonesia and Thailand, and that was pretty cheap. I could not believe the price we got it under. Really? It was 1,100 American dollars for 11 days, all flights, all tours. We are very good at budget traveling. And then I traveled with my mom to, we went to Rottnest Island, which is an island right off of Perth. And then we went to Melbourne and Sydney together. Cool. So a lot of traveling.
So what was that like to like stay in someone else's house in Australia? Like when you went down with your friend, and like what kind of things, like, is it like different having like someone's mom cook for you in Australia than like in America?
It was very different. I had met Kate's mom originally before we went down, and we really connected because I was kind of a little homesick at the time, and I was like, I just need like a mother figure that I would like really just want a mom hug from. Like there was just nobody around that could give you a mom hug that like just felt so warm and comforting. So when we met Kate's mom, she was like, come down for the weekend. So she like would come down. We went down. She gave us all the hugs we wanted. We watched movies. She made home cooked meals. And like, that was so nice. Cause like, it was like September by the time we had gone down, and I'd been missing my mom a little bit. And I was like, I really could use a mom hug. She was like all for it. And like living there was fine. Like we snuggled in each other's beds. Cause like Kate has like a big bed. So like the couple of us were snuggling together. We met all of Kate's hometown friends. It was just like very nice. It's like a very small town vibe.
Was it like a long drive? Like what's it like driving and like taking a road trip in Australia? Like is that exciting? Do you see a lot, or is it like?
It's very open. So the drive from Fremantle to Esperance was 8 hours. And it's all open road. There's barely, they call it petrol stations, which are the gas stations. You barely hit them. When you hit them, you need to get gas or else you'll get stuck. And we were driving, and it was probably like 2 p.m. We're about 5 hours in, and we had passed one of the petrol stations because we're like, oh, there's one up in like a couple 100 kilometers or whatever. And that one we passed ended up being closed. And we ran out of gas in the middle of Western Australia. And when I mean like outback, like it was outback. Like I have pictures, there's like nothing for miles. You don't see a car for 35, 40 minutes. So we were just waiting on the side of the road, hanging out, like waiting for the next person to flag down. And we had like a sweet old couple stop and like help get us, like they brought Kate to get gas. And then we came back and filled the car. We were on our merry way, but it was so fun just hanging out. Kangaroos everywhere trying to hit your car.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what was one thing that you feel like it surprised you when you went to Australia that you like no one told you about before you went there?
No one told me about. Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I did think that the toilets would flush the opposite way. If you got a specific kind of toilet, like a toilet that is in America, like it would, but their toilets are different. So like they don't like actually like, if there's so much of a force when you flush the toilet that it goes straight down instead of in the opposite circle. So I was really hoping to see this like the water circle, but it didn't. I guess like the Australians I didn't know the difference between the dollars. So I didn't know if it was like a big deal, but they used to like kind of joke with us like, oh, you guys get the American discount. Because like it costs us less to buy the same thing that they buy. So like that was kind of fun to find out, because like, you know, especially when you're traveling on a budget, it's nice to know that your dollar is less.
Definitely.
But I guess I didn't. What surprised me was that I made long-lasting friends that like I know I want to see again. Like I knew like I would meet people that I would like to hang out with, and I honestly thought I would hang out with the American students more. But when I mean that I became best friends with Kate, like Kate's literally my go-to person. We talk every day. She was gonna come this winter, but then COVID happened, so she's gonna try and come next year. But like I really did not think that I'd be meeting the people that I want to see every day for the rest of my life, and I didn't realize how hard it was gonna be to leave them.
Wow, that's awesome. I feel like that's like everyone's like dream abroad experience, is like meeting people who like you want that bond when you leave.
Yeah.
All right. That's about it. So we're gonna wrap it up. But thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're awesome. This was honestly like I always wanted to go to Australia, and I love hearing people's stories about it. So like, thank you.
It's a place to go.
All right, cool. Thank you. Have a good night.
Of course, you too.